Hello everyone, welcome back to the YouTube channel, welcome back to another episode. I've got a fantastic guest at the HQ here today, Dr. Sarah Vora, who is known as, or aka the Mind Medic on Instagram, and is here today basically to answer your questions. So I did a Q&A on my Instagram and I've had many questions from all of you at home, basically about a range of things to do with mental health, and it's not very often you can sit with a consultant psychiatrist and be able to basically grill them on these things. So, are you ready?
I am ready. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and first of all, do you like the HQ?
I love the HQ. I was just commenting on this wall. I think it's absolutely fantastic.
It's nice. It's a place I try to create to be nice and good for the mind, really, wellbeing and stuff like that, isn't it?
Yeah, really
and we're going to have
like
behind your head there'll be something very exciting coming soon. Right, should we get started, everyone? I've got my phone ready to go. Question number 1, and all these have been sent in by you guys, by the way. I'm literally just got them in front of me. I've screenshotted your questions. What advice to give to parents of a child that suffers from anxiety? I think this is quite a common one, and I get asked a lot in my role as well, because it's, you know, for parents it's difficult. They worry about the child. What do they do? You don't want to push them too much. Like, how much do you ask them, basically, and how do you deal with it?
I think it's so difficult, and this is something that I come across daily in my practice. And I think what I can say is giving your child space to talk. So it sounds really straightforward and really simple, but often what I find parents get into the trap of is that they can almost approach a child feeling very frustrated, understandably, because they want to know what's going on for them. They want to be able to help them. Then it doesn't convey to them that it's a safe space to open up. But remaining calm is really crucial. And just checking in regularly. So giving them that space to open up, trying to kind of sit down in front of your child. If you don't normally, head on. If that's not what you normally do, then it's not going to, again, create that space for them to open up. So going out for a walk or going out shopping or grabbing a drink or whatever it may be, a much better environment for them to be able to open up.
I think it's interesting because a lot of parents want to understandably fix the problem, right? If your child is suffering and they're really anxious, or you can see they're in trouble, you want to go in there and just sort it out there and then. I'm a parent myself, so I really struggle with this idea that if my child is struggling, I want to be able to fix it, I want to be able to sort it out, but sometimes it's beyond my control or my level. One of the things I talk about is face fear. So it's face-to-face conversation, being attentive, remaining calm, encouraging a child to open up if you notice that they're anxious. And the fear aspect is facts. What have you noticed about your child that's different? And E is explaining, so put it into context. So you used to be the first down for, family game night or whatever it may be, or you used to be able to join us at the dinner table. So putting your concerns into context will convey to your child that actually that you've noticed something different, you've noticed a change. And then A and R is agreeing in action and reviewing. So, if you say that to your child, look, I've noticed this is different. So you might say, okay, how about we review it after your exams come to an end? And if we're still in the same position, perhaps we'll go to the doctor together, or perhaps we'll speak to your school, or whatever it may be. Pretty good advice there, I'd say. I love that. Next question. What if you don't respect your therapist? Say, look, I've gone to see a therapist, but actually we didn't get on, or whatever, that's it, I've given up. What can you advise those people?
I think first and foremost, what I would ask you to think about is, what are the reasons that you don't like your therapist? Is it that actually they're getting you to open up about quite difficult stuff, in which case you might feel quite vulnerable, in which case it's a case probably they're just doing their job. It may be that you consider another therapist, and I think that can often be quite a taboo subject or an area that people find difficult to admit. But what I would say is that if your relationship with your therapist is impacting your ability to progress in therapy, that absolutely is one of the things that perhaps you can talk to your mental health team about, or if you're self-funding.
I think it's pretty common. I think it's quite important to be able to connect with your therapist. Of course, they're there in a professional capacity, but if you don't, as you say, feel able to kind of genuinely open up to them and get across what you want to say, then and it's not functional, then you kind of need to try a different therapist, maybe. People
will come to me and say, I'm not connecting, or I'm not feeling that I can progress through therapy. And we look at offering another, maybe it's that they don't get on with male therapists, or perhaps they want a younger therapist or an older one.
My daughter has an eating disorder and refuses to open up and talk. How can I help her to do this? In scenarios for parents, I guess, they can see that the problem's developing, and approaching it might trigger a reaction that is challenging.
Sort of face fear approach can be really helpful in terms of sort of day-to-day conversations. But the other thing that I would suggest is, obviously, they've got a diagnosable eating disorder, hopefully they'll be under the care of an eating disorder team. So if you're feeling that you are struggling, what I would suggest is that you go back to the eating disorder team and see if they can support you as a family unit to support your child.
It's a good point, because I think sometimes we think about, when someone's unwell, say the mental health illness, we think about them as that individual, but it's the whole family. When I was filming our Young Mental Health Crisis, going around the country speaking to young people, it really struck me how much it actually affects the whole family, the teachers, the friends.
Yeah.
There's this like ripple effect, isn't there?
So again, if I think about my 7-year-old, she has a certain pattern that she follows every day without fail. So she'll get up at a certain time, she'll get herself dressed for school, she'll want to watch her favourite TV programme in the morning, she'll wolf down her Cocoa Pops at the moment, it's her favourite. I was noticing that she wasn't getting out of bed, or that she was really struggling to get herself dressed, that she didn't want to watch her favourite programme, that she was off for breakfast. There's clear patterns that indicate that she is struggling. One of the things I also find works quite well, particularly in this sort of tech-obsessed world, is using phones. A young person can't put into words how distressed they are, so agreeing a code system within the house can be really helpful. So whether or not it's agreeing that if you text a red emoji or red heart emoji, I'm really struggling and actually I might need you to check up on me today, or a green means I'm fine, I'm doing okay.
Does social media really impact our well-being? This is a really, really common question. I get this a lot as well. And social media, I guess the question, is it good or bad? The truth is both.
Yeah.
It really isn't, and it depends who you are, how you use it, and what way you engage with it, which platform you use, how long you spend on it. There's so many different factors.
Are you using social media to inspire you, motivate you, educate you, or just to give you a lift? I would say that social media is fantastic for connection. Actually, we've connected through social media, and I think about the young people that I see in clinic, often they don't have those in real life connections for whatever reason. They may be off school, maybe an anxiety related non-attendance, or they may just struggle with friendships in general. The common problems that I see that negatively impact social media is comparison, first and foremost. They're straight on social media, they're in their pajamas and they're looking at someone that's done a morning workout, that's had their breakfast and is off to work. And instantly, in the morning, try to carve out some 30 minutes social media free time, and then also monitoring your use throughout the day. So we can all get lost in that kind of procrastination, mindless scrolling. Is it inspiring me? Is it motivating me? Is it educating me?
Scrolling through TikTok or Instagram, whatever, it can impact the way that you sleep as well. It's like a really deep impact on your brain and the quality of your sleep, which is kind of a bit scary, isn't it? So I guess protecting those nicely put the bookends of the day.
Yeah.
Next question. What are we on to? Will I be judged for seeking advice on mental health? And a big part of my role, I think, is trying to break down stigma. Recently launched hashtag post your pill, and it's not a pro-medication campaign at all. It's actually about saying that if your doctor or if someone believes that medication will help you in your specific circumstance, then I don't want stigma or shame to be the barrier for you accessing the treatment you deserve.
Is this feeling of failure, that if you need to take medication for your mental health, oh, I'm a failure, I'm weak, actually for a lot of people, just having the motivation, the energy to get up every morning, to do the things that we spoke about in that morning routine is incredibly difficult. If you having a conversation with your doctor is the only barrier, is the sort of the shame, and I put that in inverted commas, of being prescribed medication, then please don't hold off the conversation any longer. Yeah. And the turnaround that I see from prescribing the medication is profound. I
see some people going, well, gosh, medication is the answer. No, it's not. It's not about being the answer.
Yeah.
I think life is this massive picture. It's this jigsaw really, and there's all these pieces to the jigsaw. And for some people, it might be the piece that they need to allow the picture to complete itself. And anyway, medication is what I started. I started on sertraline, and I found it as taking my anxiety from 100% to 5%. It's almost like a snowball effect, isn't it? When I started the medication, I started feeling the energy to do the therapy, and I started doing more of the things around self-care, and then I felt better, and the more I did that, the better I felt. So what I would say is stuff the shame. If you're taking control of your own health, you're making a decision that is ultimately helping you in the way that you feel. Be proud of that, and I think that's a real strength.
To say that you'll be on medication long term, I've had plenty of young people, that they've started on medication, it's given them the energy, the focus to be able to focus on the therapy, and once they get to a place where they're able to function as they were previously, then they come off it. and they come off it having engaged with the therapy work and back to their usual self.
How do you personally deal with working with a lot of heavy stuff from your clients? I think that's a really good question, something I'm very much interested in, because it must be tough at times, right?
It's so difficult, and I think even more so because I predominantly work with children and young people, and I've got a daughter myself, so it's so difficult not to kind of view that individual as someone else's daughter, someone else's son, and to empathise with the parents that you've got coming into the room that are just fraught with anxiety and feeling frustrated that they can't help. One of the things me and my husband are really quite disciplined with is that if we go away, if the hotel's got a safe, we literally put our phones in the safe and we just completely disconnect from the world around us. Quite easily the boundaries become blurred, because if you're dealing with some really heavy things at work and then you're coming home, it can be difficult not to log on. Things like exercise, I prioritise exercise, so I make sure that I move at least 4 or 5 times in the week, whatever type of movement that is. And again, that's something, my husband is a medic, he's a surgeon, so we're both in really intense jobs and we've got a child to look after.
It's also going to do the exercise, not even just about the movement really we're talking about, as you quite rightly say, it's not even just the activity of doing, it's giving yourself the space in the day to do it. Your ways to unwind, for me it's a bath bomb, Prescrib'd, the only ones, don't use any other ones. And for you also, obviously, only Prescrib'd. I get really anxious around bedtime and end up hardly sleeping. When I go to bed, it's the time that your brain goes, oh God, this tomorrow, and this, and what about this, or did I do that wrong today, oh gosh, I should have done that differently.
So I think first and foremost, if you have those worries that just come to a surface on an evening, is asking yourself, is this a worry that I can turn into a problem that I can solve, or is this a might not worry? Very quickly turn those worries into problems that I can solve. They like my outfit, what I'm wearing. It might not even happen. I'm going to waste a lot of energy by overthinking that. Switching off your screen devices. We know that the blue light from screens can block a really important hormone called melatonin, and melatonin is absolutely crucial for setting the pathways for sleep.
How can I work out if I'm depressed because of my current situation or just because I am? I think it's quite a common thing when people go, how do I know if I'm actually struggling or if it's just a bad week?
I suppose it's thinking about what degree it's impacting your day-to-day functioning. So what I would say is firstly think about whether there's anything that could possibly explain why your mood's dropped. So it might be that you've gone through a breakup, it might be that you're grieving, it might be that you've lost your job, whatever it may be, there may be a context to what you're feeling. So that's the first thing that I'd advise.
To do that. I think we spoke about that and I was like, oh, I'm trying myself a little bit. And it does make you then think, well, actually I need to do something now.
Definitely.
And if in doubt, see your doctor.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm sure you'd say, rather, someone go to the doctor and, realise that it isn't too much of a problem, they check in a few weeks later and everything's fine, than I would people not go for sometimes months or even years. At what point is it time to accept that I need antidepressants? We kind of talked about this a little bit before, but it's kind of, and I actually don't like the thing of accept antidepressants.
It's really cliche, but thinking about sort of a physical illness, you wouldn't question if your doctor was to prescribe
when
something.
When you accept antibiotics,
exactly.
The societal structure, I guess the whole wider picture that's made people feel that it is kind of like accepting.
Absolutely.
So please don't think I'm digging at anyone there. The point is, you shouldn't have to feel that way.
Yeah.
Next question. I know the anxiety, panic attacks I have towards COVID is irrational, but I can't stop it. How can I?
I think it's thinking about what's within your control. So actually, are you following sort of the guidance around wearing face masks, washing your hands, all of that? Is this a worry that I can turn into a problem that I can solve? Or is this a might not worry, something that might not even happen?
I think this is a great question to finish on. What other things can improve well-being other than medications? Because there's so much, I think, what I'm very passionate about is that actually, yes, there are, medication therapy, but there's a lot we can do in our own lives, isn't there, to support our own well-being in general. And
even if someone is on medication and is accessing therapy, like you said, and likes within your book, actually they need to be doing the lifestyle factors to optimise and to continue to feel the benefits that they're experiencing. Really prioritise your sleep. I think the thing with all these lifestyle factors is they take time, they take effort, and they rely on consistency. But honestly, exercise has countless mental health benefits. It can lift our mood, it can reduce stress, it can help with our sleep. When we're stressed, the people that we surround ourselves with can help us make sense of that stress and also reduce the effect it would otherwise have on us.
Have a laugh and stuff like that.
Exactly. So social connection, exercise and sleep.
I think it's something controversial potentially. Well, I hope it's not controversial, but it might be. sometimes healthcare isn't easy. You know, sometimes we don't want to go and do that walk, or it's raining, or we don't want to do the exercise. But I think we've got to kind of the mindset that you do have to put effort in sometimes to get the benefit out.
Yeah.
Sometimes some discipline is very important as well, and especially when you're finding things tough. It'll probably be even harder because, you know, especially when I was feeling very anxious, I didn't want to go outside and go for a run, but I also knew, and I knew deep down scientifically, that it would definitely help me. So sometimes you've got to push through things a little bit.
Definitely.
Sarah, thank you so much. It's a pleasure as always.
No, you're welcome. Thanks for having
your
me.
Your advice is amazing. I think it really, and I thank you. I'm sure everyone at home has really appreciated your advice today. I think it's really helpful to hear from an expert in the field, and also see, I guess, that, you know, we all can have an input in our own mental health. It isn't always about treatments and things. We can actually help ourselves, and some top tips. Make sure you do check out our book as well. We'll do a little ping on the screen there. Ben will do some magic to show the book. Thank you everyone, letting me know what you think. Jump in the comments. Any other kind of topics you'd like us to cover specifically around mental health, or any other ones in the future as well. I'm sure I'd love to have Dr. Sarah back on the channel.
Thank you, Alex.
Have a good Christmas.
Thank you, you
Enjoy
too.
yourself. Take care. Thanks everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.